The bass from the speakers rattled the ice in Vanessa's glass as she threw her head back and laughed, her teeth bright against the strobing purple lights of Club Onyx. It was Friday, and Friday meant freedom. Vanessa Okafor was, by any measure, the kind of woman that stopped a room. 24 years old, with deep brown skin that caught light like polished mahogany, sharp cheekbones that belonged on a magazine cover, and a smile so disarming it had once made a bouncer forget to check her ID. She wore a backless gold dress that her best friend Charlotte had dared her to buy 3 weeks ago and had been begging her to wear ever since. "You look insane tonight, V," Charlotte shouted over the music, leaning across the VIP booth they had sweet-talked their way into. Charlotte was tall, caramel-skinned, with long box braids and the confidence of a woman who had never once doubted her own reflection. She was Vanessa's oldest friend. They had grown up on the same street in Lagos before life carried them both to London. Beside her sat Melissa, petite and copper-toned, with a sharp wit and sharper eyeliner, already on her third cocktail and swaying to the music with her eyes half closed. And then there was Rachel. Quiet, watchful, beautiful in a subtle way that men always seem to notice about 20 minutes too late. The four of them had done this every weekend for the better part of 2 years. Same ritual, same joy, same booth when they could get it. Vanessa was mid-dance when she felt it, that particular weight of being watched. She scanned the room casually, the way a woman learns to when she has spent enough nights in enough clubs, and her eyes landed on him. He was standing near the bar with 2 other men, drink in hand, not dancing, not shouting into anyone's ear, just watching her. Calm, deliberate. He was tall, well over 6 feet, with a broad chest, dark skin, and a jawline that looked like it had been carved with intention. He was dressed simply. Dark trousers, a fitted black shirt, a watch that caught the light when he lifted his glass. He didn't look away when he caught him staring. He just nodded, slow and unhurried, as if he had all the time in the world. Vanessa turned back to her friends. "Don't look now," she said, "but someone is staring at me." Charlotte immediately looked. "I said, don't," Vanessa groaned. "Oh," Charlotte said simply. Then after a pause, "Oh, wow." 15 minutes later, a waitress arrived at their table with a bottle of Moet. Then another. Then a third. Each one accompanied by a small card that read simply, "Enjoy your night. S." Melissa sat up straight. Rachel put her phone down. Charlotte turned to Vanessa with an expression that was equal parts delight and triumph. "He flooded the table, V," Melissa whispered. "He actually flooded the table." By the end of the night, Samuel Bennett was sitting beside Vanessa in the booth, his voice low and unhurried beneath the music, asking her questions like he genuinely wanted to know the answers. He was American, Atlanta, he said, in London on business that kept getting extended because he admitted with a half smile he didn't mind the city as much as he used to. He was 31. He ran a logistics company. He had a laugh that arrived slowly and then took over his whole face. When the club lights came up at 2 a.m., he asked for her number with the same quiet confidence with which he had done everything else that night. Vanessa gave it to him. Walking to the taxi, Charlotte linked her arm and grinned. He is fine. He is paid. And he bought 4 bottles without flinching. Vanessa, do not mess this up. Vanessa laughed and shook her head. But she was already thinking about the way he had looked at her. Steady, like she was worth the patience. 3 months after Club Onyx, Vanessa's life looked different in ways she hadn't anticipated. Not dramatically different, not all at once, but in the quiet, accumulating way that a good man's attention tends to rearrange things. Samuel was consistent in a way that felt almost unfamiliar. He texted good morning without being asked. He remembered small things, that she hated mushrooms, that her mother's name was Grace, that she had once mentioned wanting to visit Rome and had never gone. He listened, like listening was something he had practiced. By the 4th month, he had taken her to Rome. They walked through the Colosseum on a warm Tuesday afternoon, Vanessa in a white sundress, Samuel's hand at the small of her back. And she remembered thinking, this is the kind of thing that happens to other women. The kind of women in films. Not girls from Lagos who grew up sharing a bedroom with 2 sisters. Charlotte had called that evening demanding a full report. He paid for everything? She asked. Charlotte. Hotels, flights, food, everything? Yes, Charlotte. There was a pause. Vanessa, I need you to understand that I am happy for you and also furious at my own life. Vanessa had laughed so hard she snorted, which made Samuel look over from the hotel balcony with that slow smile of his. Back in London, the spoiling continued in subtler, more deliberate ways. He noticed that her laptop was dying and replaced it without making it a moment. He took her shopping. Not in the frenzied, transactional way some men did, as if generosity were a currency to be cashed in later. But casually, the way you might pick up something for someone because you thought of them and could. He upgraded her phone. He paid 3 months of her rent during a period when her freelance work dried up. And when she tried to protest, he simply said, "You do the same for me," if the positions were reversed, and moved on. Melissa called it a glow-up. Rachel called it a blessing. Charlotte called it evidence that God existed and had finally gotten organized. But it was on a quiet Sunday evening, 6 months in, that Samuel said the thing that lodged itself in Vanessa's memory like a splinter she kept forgetting about until it caught on something. They were in his apartment, a clean, well-lit place in Canary Wharf that smelled like cedar wood and fresh laundry, eating takeout on the couch, some documentary playing on the television that neither of them was really watching. Samuel had been quieter than usual. Not cold, just thoughtful. Then he set down his fork and looked at her with that steady, unhurried gaze she had come to know so well. "I need to tell you something," he said. Not as a threat, just as the truth. Vanessa turned to face him. "I love being with you," he said. "You know that. But I need you to know, and I mean this seriously, Vanessa. I do not want children, not now, not with anyone. I have thought about this for a long time, and it is not something I am uncertain about." He paused. "I'm telling you this because I respect you too much not to. If that changes how you feel about us, I understand. But I needed you to know where I stand." Vanessa looked at him for a long moment. "I hear you," she said. He nodded. Then he reached into his jacket, which was draped over the armrest, and placed an envelope on the cushion between them. Inside was enough money to cover a year's worth of contraception. Pills, injections, whatever she chose. He had even written down the name of a private clinic nearby. "I'm not trying to control you," he said. "I just want us both to be protected." Vanessa picked up the envelope and said she would take care of it. She did not take care of it. She told herself she would. Next week, she kept saying, but the weeks stacked up the way they do when life is good and nothing feels urgent. And in the warm, golden haze of being loved by Samuel Bennett, the warning began to feel like something he had said rather than something he had meant. Men said things, she reasoned privately. They drew lines in the sand and then the tide came in and they rebuilt further back. At least, that was what her friend said. "He's testing you," Charlotte declared one Saturday afternoon over brunch, stabbing a piece of French toast with conviction. Men always say that. It's like a filter. They want to see if you're serious or if you're just there for the lifestyle. "Samuel doesn't feel like that type," Rachel said quietly. But she said it quietly enough that it was easy to talk over. "My cousin's husband said the same thing," Melissa added, nodding. "Absolutely insisted he never wanted kids. They have 3 now. And he coaches the eldest one's football team every Saturday morning. 3. Charlotte is right. Vanessa stirred her juice and said nothing. But she filed it away. As always, do tell us where you are watching from. I love to see how far these amazing stories go. Also, I hope I get less complaints on the voice this time. Enjoy. It was on a grey October morning, 12 months to the week after Club Onyx, that Vanessa sat on the cold tile of her bathroom floor and stared at a pregnancy test until the lines stopped blurring. 2 lines. She sat there for a long time, long enough for the light outside the frosted window to shift, long enough for her phone to buzz twice with messages she did not read. Then she called Charlotte. Charlotte arrived within the hour, with Melissa in tow, both of them breathless on Vanessa's couch, the test sitting on the coffee table between them like an exhibit. "Okay," Charlotte said, in the measured tone she used when she was thinking fast. "Okay, this is not a disaster." "Samuel told me," Vanessa started. "Samuel said what every man says," Charlotte interrupted. "We have been through this. Men say they don't want children the way they say they don't want dessert. And then the waiter brings the menu and suddenly they are considering the cheesecake." Melissa nodded firmly. "Keep it, V. He loves you. He has been showing you for a year. A man who buys you 4 bottles the first night and takes you to Rome does not just walk away from his own child." "He will come around," Charlotte said, with the breezy certainty of someone advising on a matter that had no consequences for herself. "Trust me, once he sees the scan, once it becomes real, That man is going to step up. I know his type. Rachel, sitting in the corner armchair, said nothing. She looked at the test on the table. She looked at Vanessa. She opened her mouth once and then closed it again. Vanessa looked at her friends, at their certainty, their warmth, their absolute conviction. And she made her decision. She would keep the baby. She would tell Samuel. Vanessa rehearsed what she would say for 4 days before she said it. She rehearsed it in the mirror, in the shower, on the tube ride to Samuel's apartment, her hands folded in her lap, her reflection ghosted in the dark window opposite her. She had worn the green dress he once said made her look like someone who knew exactly who she was. She had done her hair. She told herself these things mattered. Samuel opened the door and smiled when he saw her. The same slow smile that had undone her 12 months ago in Club Onyx. And for one treacherous second, she considered not saying anything at all. They sat in the living room. The television was off. The cedarwood smell was the same as always. I need to tell you something, she said, and heard the echo of his own words from that Sunday evening on the couch. She told him. The silence that followed was the longest of her life. Samuel did not shout. He did not throw anything. He did not call her names. In some ways, what he did was worse. He sat very still and looked at the floor. And when he finally looked up, his eyes held something she had not seen in them before. Not anger. Something heavier than anger. Disappointment. Vanessa, he said quietly, I gave you the money. I know. I told you. I sat right here and I told you. I was as honest with you as I know how to be. I know, Samuel. I loved you, he said, and the past tense of it landed like a stone dropped in still water. I genuinely loved you. You know that. Then why can't we? Because I told you, he said simply, and you made a choice. And I have to live with my part of what happened between us. And I will. But I cannot be your boyfriend, Vanessa. I meant what I said. I meant every word of it. She waited for the next part. The part where he softened, where the cheesecake arrived as Melissa had promised, where the man who had taken her to Rome and replaced her laptop and paid her rent remembered all the reasons he loved her and decided that love was enough to rearrange everything he had told her about himself. The next part did not come. What came instead was a phone number for a private OBGYN written on a piece of paper in Samuel's careful handwriting. Financial support, he said, for the child. He would not disappear. That was not who he was. But they were done. Vanessa walked home in the green dress and sat in her kitchen until midnight. She told Charlotte and Melissa the next morning. They arrived with coffee and croissants and the particular energy of women who were recalibrating rapidly but would not admit it. He just needs time, Charlotte said, though with slightly less conviction than before. Give him a few weeks, Melissa agreed. though she did not meet Vanessa's eyes when she said it. It was Rachel who said nothing again. Rachel, who sat with her hands wrapped around her mug, watching Vanessa with an expression that looked uncomfortably close to grief. The weeks passed. Samuel did not come around. What he did instead, 3 months into Vanessa's pregnancy, on a Thursday evening when she was sitting in her flat watching her stomach begin to announce itself in the mirror, was add her to a WhatsApp group. The group was called Co-Parenting, Samuel. There were 2 other women in it already. Vanessa stared at her phone screen for a very long time. The first woman was named Diana, mixed race, stunning in her profile photo, based in Atlanta. Her message history in the group suggested she had a 2-year-old boy. The second was named Priya, British Indian, dark-eyed, with the quiet composure of someone who had already done her grieving. She had a daughter, 18 months old. A welcome message from Samuel appeared, adding Vanessa. She's expecting. Please be respectful of each other. I will handle my responsibilities to all children involved. Diana sent a simple, "Hey Vanessa, sorry you're here. We'll talk." Priya sent a single, "Welcome." Vanessa put the phone face down on the cushion beside her and did not pick it up again for 2 hours. The baby was a girl. Vanessa named her Zara. Zara had Samuel's jawline and Vanessa's eyes and absolutely no patience for sleeping past 5 in the morning, a quality she appeared to have invented entirely on her own. Samuel attended the birth. He stood at a respectful distance, said she had done well, left an envelope on the bedside table, and added Zara to his contacts before he left. He was not cruel. He was not warm. He was exactly what he had always said he would be, which Vanessa was only now learning to find more frightening than cruelty. Charlotte held Zara first and cried, which Vanessa had not expected. It made her feel something complicated. Gratitude and exhaustion and a grief she could not yet name, all arriving at once. "She's perfect," Charlotte whispered. "She is," Vanessa agreed. It was 6 months after Zara was born that Vanessa noticed the change in Charlotte. Small things at first. Charlotte cancelling plans with a vagueness she didn't usually bother with. Charlotte going quiet when Samuel's name came up, which was often because Samuel was now a permanent feature of Vanessa's logistical life, appearing every other weekend to collect Zara with the punctuality of a man who took his limited obligations seriously. Then one evening, Vanessa called Charlotte, and a man's voice was audible in the background before Charlotte stepped out of the room to talk. A low voice. American. Unhurried. Vanessa knew that voice. She didn't say anything. She waited. She told herself she was wrong, that she was sleep-deprived and paranoid and constructing a story from nothing. She held Zara a little tighter that night and watched an old film and went to bed early. 3 weeks later, Melissa called her. Melissa, to her credit, did not dress it up. "Vanessa, I need to tell you something. And I need you to know I am only telling you because it is better you hear it from me." A breath. Charlotte and Samuel have been seeing each other.
About 2 months now. I only just found out. I swear to you, I only just found out. Vanessa sat with the phone against her ear and looked across the room at Zara, who was in her bouncer, waving a small fist at nothing in particular. Vanessa, I heard you, Melissa. Are you all right? Vanessa thought about Club Onyx, the gold dress, the 4 bottles of Moet, the slow smile at the bar. She thought about room. She thought about the Sunday evening on the couch, the envelope, the careful handwriting. He's testing you. With French toast on her fork. She thought about the WhatsApp group, co-parenting, Samuel, Diana, Priya. And now, it seemed, Charlotte was simply skipping the step that the rest of them had not. I'm fine, Vanessa said. She was not fine. But Zara was healthy and present and smelled like warm milk and innocence. And outside the window, London was going about its noisy, indifferent business. And Vanessa Okafor was 25 years old, with her whole life in front of her. She thought about what Diana had said in the group chat months ago. In a long private message, Vanessa had eventually replied to at 2 a.m. one sleepless night. He told me to, Diana had written. He always tells us. That's the thing about Samuel. He always tells the truth. We just don't believe him. Vanessa put the phone down. She picked up her daughter. She did not call Charlotte back. Do you think anyone was at fault? Let us know in the comments.